What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. We are here for the Monaco Grand Prix, my favorite race of the season, so I'm looking forward to a good outing here once again. We have some good news as well. Both of our upgrades went on the car, tyre wear and also a brake upgrade. So in the race I feel like we should be somewhat of a weapon, but let's see what the other teams are doing in the performance index. Looks like Haas are a big mover at the moment. They seem to be shadowing our moves so far. We've overtaken Red Bull, who haven't upgraded for quite a few rounds now, so they might have a huge upgrade on the horizon. Alfa Romeo making good gains as well, one to watch out for, and otherwise McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari with minor upgrades.
The Monaco Grand Prix is upon us and we're heading into the weekend with the first of the practice sessions. It's certainly not the easiest of tracks to navigate, so today is going to be incredibly valuable to the teams.
Carl probably mentioned the new parts that have come in from the factory. Well, they're all fitted and good to go. I hope they do the trick.
So not a crazy amount of development has been done in between last episode and this one. We're in this, awkward phase where I didn't have enough resource points to target anything major or ultimate upgrade-wise, but we are making steady improvements. You know, the kind of little details you do need to think about when you're trying to put together the whole package. We've got some nice details here for this Monaco Grand Prix, but going forward we do need to continue to work on the engine. The chassis, I feel like, is surprisingly a bit of a weak point for this car. We could definitely do some more weight redistribution. We can do weight reduction. I feel like if we have a good race here this weekend, we might go for that ultimate weight reduction upgrade for mid-season. The practice went fine. You can see we actually topped the session, but we pretty much laid all of our cards on the table in Friday practice with our qualifying run. And surprisingly, we didn't actually go that much faster on the softs as opposed to the 3-lap race run that I did on mediums. So the pace on harder tyres, at least on paper, it looks really, really good. So I'm hoping we can get a good qualifying for this round and tyre wear won't really be a problem. But anyway, it's time for quali.
We're here at the magical Circuit de Monaco for one of the most challenging qualifying sessions on the Formula One calendar. Who can add their name to the illustrious list of Monte Carlo pole sitters here today?
Hopefully it can be us. I don't think we've got pole position. Did we get pole? We might have got pole position last year. Is it bad that I've already forgotten what happened last season? I do remember turning up the difficulty to like 110 or something, but I can't exactly remember where exactly we qualified. It might have been on the front row, but I can't remember. But anyway, here we are for qualifying one. You can see a bit of front wing damage on our first lap of Q1. We actually waited a good 5 or 6 minutes into the session before I decided to set my time. So if we have to come into the pits and do a front wing change, that's going to cost me, I think, 5 minutes. And I'm not too sure if we have 5 minutes to spare, to be honest. So I'm going for another lap. Thankfully we're fueled up to do that, and we're going to see if we can beat the time. We improve, but not by enough. It's only P18, but as we return to the garage, we haven't lost 5 minutes. So the team have overlooked the fact that we've got front wing damage and have sent me back out with the front wing damage, as you can see right there. So with 2 minutes left to go in this session, we have to get ourselves out of Q1 with a damaged car. This is stress. But we've already gained a 10th.5 through turn 1, so that was very odd. We've got a brand new set of tyres on. The track has obviously evolved somewhat, but I've got to say, the car feels like a brand new car in this second run. I honestly cannot put my finger on what it is that's different. I did increase the front wing by 1 to help counteract the fact that we've got some damage, but literally I feel like we've had an ultimate front wing upgrade in between the start of the session and this one. I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't know if our front wing is actually fixed and we didn't have the consequence of waiting for the change to happen, but we're in P2 for Q1 in Monaco with a damaged front wing. I am going to make sure we put all of those doubts to rest for Q2 and Q3, and let's just sack off that front wing and move on to the next one with no doubts in our mind. But guys, I am completely shocked as to how we got that result with what was supposed to be a damaged front wing. everybody improved right at the death there. So maybe the track was significantly better than what I thought it was. We move on to Q2. That's a more representative time from us, so 108.6. Ricardo goes slower in Q2 than what he did in Q1. Again, this is really frustrating. I don't know what is going on with Daniel. He really needs to sort out his qualifying, because this is, what, 2 races in a row now where he stuffed himself over. But now we move on to qualifying 3, and this is where it all counts. I unfortunately only have one brand new set of tyres for this session, and that's why we are saving it for the very end. So here we go. The time that we put in previously was the best I could do on worn tyres. It was a 10.5. We'll be going the best part of hopefully 2 seconds faster in order to challenge for pole position today. Lucas Weber, for some reason, is massively on the pace this weekend. So Haas, who have continually been working on their car, must have found something very good in the balance of their car. Meanwhile, I've got a lot of understeer in the balance of mine. I lost a lot of time on the exit of Portier. Lucky enough to get some front wing damage, but otherwise the lap is very, very fast, very aggressive at this stage. Coming to my favorite sector of the lap, the 3rd sector. It's absolutely amazing through here when you can throw it in. Final chicane, gaining so much time over the curb there. Into Rascas, slow it all down. Make sure you don't get wheel spin through the final corner. Very easy to understeer or not maximize that. We come across the line now, and it's going to be an improvement of 1.7 seconds to get P2 in this Monaco Grand Prix. Unfortunately, not as fast as what we managed in Q2.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Weber, Day and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Crofty, thank you for interrupting me there. So it's P2 for this race. Yeah, Lucas, I don't know where this form has come from. His teammate as well, Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas, also got knocked out in Q2, and he was slower than Daniel. So I don't know if it's a former Renault driver thing to get knocked out in Q2. But that is a very interesting grid. Lucas Weber, P1, and myself in P2. Ferraris are kind of nowhere. Mercedes have locked out the 2nd row of the grid. So heading into the race, this is a very tasty prospect. I don't know if Lucas has the pace that we do in the race, but we're going to find out. If all goes well, we're going to make some big gains on the front guys in the championship. So let's get started.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Now, we probably ought to start by discussing Sebastian Vettel. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
Jeff, I know you've been trying to keep up with my, regular content. I've done a lot of online races here, but I don't think Turn 1 is going to be crazy in the single-player side of things. But welcome, guys, to the Monaco Grand Prix. An interesting grid lineup for this one. Sebastian Vettel with a grid penalty, which knocks him further back in this Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton with a 16-point lead. We're looking to extend that somewhat further, but with our starting position for this race, we want to, cut into that lead somewhat with today's effort. So let's see what we can do. We need a good start. Hopefully we can jump Lucas and then control the race from there. This race is all about qualifying. It's all about the start, and as of late, my starts haven't been great. 5 red lights and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. It looks like Lucas got off to an amazing one, but I was making sure that I covered off Lewis right from the outset of this race. And you can see we just about maintained P2. Bottas with the watching brief on the run-up to Casino Square. He has the inside, so Paul is somewhat in his court, but We just about hold it there, and we're going to keep P2, I think. Bottas still there as we run into Mirabeau, and there we go. We squeeze him out finally, and we maintain our starting position in this race with Lewis Hamilton getting jumped by his teammates. So a good result there for us if we're going to take some good points away from those guys in this Grand Prix. I think there's an Alfa Romeo right up there who was in P5-ish. I think they just got overtaken by Verstappen, so that is unfortunate. But early days in this race, Lucas Weber is absolutely flying. He's 7/10 faster on the last lap. I had a feeling that my soft compound pace wasn't going to be great. It was going to be better on the harder compounds, but at the moment, Lucas is just convincingly faster in this race and is stretching away by multiple tenths a lap. It's rather scary.
Weber is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 3.9 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 4 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:12.7. You're losing around 3/10 a lap.
I'm not really sure what to put that down to be honest. One thing I did change pre-race was I moved the front wing down to 8. It was originally 8:10. This was the time trial setup that it had, and when I moved the wings to 9:10, I think in Q2, it made things much nicer for me. So I'm going to go back to 9:10, go back to what we know, and I'm going to hope that that's going to be all the difference in us being faster or slower than Lucas, hopefully. But he's into the pit lane now, onto the medium compound tyres. This is a good time to stop, to be honest. He will come out in a little bit of traffic. And I say it's a good time to stop because my tyres are absolutely dead. The only reason I'm sticking it out for an extra lap is the hope that I might jump a car or two who are, slower in the mid-pack, and I'll have fresher tyres slightly for the rest of this Grand Prix. That was really my only logic in staying out the extra lap. So we'll see if it works out here. The undercut is very powerful on F1 2019. So we'll see. It's a good stop from the boys there at Renault. We emerged in front of the Mercedes. Rejoining on the circuit, it looks like Verstappen has jumped us by virtue of the undercut and lost a position to Gasly as well, who is full position, and Leclerc right in behind us as well. So not a good decision in staying out the extra lap. My tyres really were quite dead at the end of that soft compound tyre stint. We jumped Bottas by quite a long way. You can see how effective the undercut is. Bottas was the lead Mercedes, and now he's trailing his teammate and got a Red Bull in between. So yeah, not a good strategy for anyone who was looking to stay out just that little bit longer. But anyway, lap 14, good chunk into this race now. This is where the exciting part happens as we dive up the inside of Gasly. I was putting the pressure on him because we were catching up to Verstappen, who was getting boxed in by Lance Stroll. I had to make that move because if we begin to get caught up behind other cars, it becomes a lot more difficult to effect lunges like that. But Verstappen gets the move done on Stroll. I'm just going to follow him through for P11. And that turns out to be quite an effective pass, to be honest, as Stroll slots in behind us. But yeah, this is a very interesting part of the Grand Prix because we've got all the medium compound runners, or hard compound runners, who haven't stopped yet, running deep into this Grand Prix, holding up the leaders. Lucas, I'd imagine, would get held up as well. People like my teammate will be right up the front. So they might be one to watch in a, unorthodox kind of sense in terms of getting points. Unfortunately, what's not going to work for these guys today is I think everyone is doing a one-stop. If this was a two-stop race, everyone who was on mediums or hards and started on those would be in a very good position for the end of the race, but it's not going to work out that way. But meanwhile, we're going around the outside of Kevin Magnussen on the racing point. Verstappen opened up that hole quite nicely, and we follow through into Casino Square. Gasly is going to follow me through as well, so a nice opportunistic move there from Gasly to follow us through, and he's through for P11. So let's see if we can continue to work together here. Verstappen forcing all of the opportunities, it seems. Verstappen, of course, one of the more aggressive AI drivers, reflecting his real-life counterpart. Let's see if he can do the move again. No. Okay. So Verstappen not fancying it there. He wanted to go around the outside into the Nobel chicane. That's ballsy. But no, I think Verstappen's best chance is, again, the run into turn 1 with the help of DRS. It seems to be a happy hunting ground for him. For us, we seem to be very, very good through the final chicane and diving up the inside into Raskas. So that might be a move we might employ. But as long as Verstappen continues to do this, he's making life very, very easy for us. We're going up the inside, give out here into Casino Square. It's actually quite hard to dive bomb them there because you can't go in too deep, otherwise you're pushing your car out wide. And again, Pierre Gasly follows us through. Oh, what a race. I've not seen a race like this one. The aggressive AI certainly are making the race entertaining here at Monaco. Who says you can't overtake at this place? Meanwhile, Lucas, our effective race leader, stuck in behind a Williams and a Toro Rosso. For reference, who else is up there? Ricardo, and I believe Sainz is leading this race. So, yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. I've completely lost my train of thought. But, yeah, they're going to be nowhere in this race. They need to make another stop. And the likes of myself and Weber will be going to the end. So, they won't be winning this race by virtue of a weird and wacky strategy, unfortunately, for them. We see a few more people dive in. We now get a nice run on Verstappen. So, we might be able to pull the move on him. But no, we're going to do the counter-attacking move up the inside and into turn 1. We take P2 away from the Dutch driver, and now we can set after potentially closing in on our race leader Lucas Weber. Nice little move there. He was expecting the move around the outside. Of course he would, because he's been doing that to the AI all day, but we caught him napping back up the inside and into P2. Looks like Gasly might follow me through here, potentially. He did have a nice run, but it didn't really amount to anything. But there we go, P2, all the stops are sorted. It's just a straight-up fight between myself, Lucas, and Verstappen for the victory of the Monaco Grand Prix.
The mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears.
Really? So we've lost 5th gear. The gearbox is not in a great state, and that, oh man, the timing of that could not be worse. We've just got into P2. We've just recovered all the ground we lost with the overcut that we did. And now it looks like we're actually faster than Weber. But the gearbox issue is really setting us back.
Okay, bad news on the gearbox. The team are trying everything they can think of, but they're not optimistic. Just keep at it. Do your best. That's all we can ask.
Thanks, team. I don't know what to say. That's really annoying. We need to work on that going forward with the way of reliability upgrades, but it looks like we've got 5th gear back now. So it looks like it's an intermittent issue. Hopefully that issue doesn't come back, because when you lose a gear, it screws around with your rhythm so much, because you rely on certain gears for certain corners, a better rotation to punch yourself out of a corner, etc. It really does make a difference, especially at a confidence circuit like Monaco, where you need to get those precise details down pat.
Weber ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 2.8 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 14 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 12.4. You're closing by 0.4 per lap.
Oh, we are faster than Weber now. So now we have the psychological advantage, and we can close him in for the victory of this race. I don't know where my pace was at the start of the Grand Prix, but now on the harder compounded tyre, we just seem to be suited to this tyre, and we can smash out the lap times a lot easier than what the Haas can. So here we go. 11 laps left in this race. I don't know if Lucas is suffering with reliability issues as well. Maybe he wasn't at the start, and now he's having some issues that are screwing him around as well. We don't really know, but at least at the moment, it seems like we have quite amazing pace at this phase of the Grand Prix. So let's just roll up onto the back of Lucas and see what we can do in the final 10 laps of this Monaco Grand Prix. A victory at this point in the season would do our championship a whole world of good.
The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap.
And that as well is really good feedback, because it's not a Lucas Weber issue, it's a everyone else's slower issue for them. So, yeah, good news. We can now push as much as we can. Not too much like that into turn 1. That was a cheeky back-end loss.
You've lost access to one of the gears. We've lost one of the gears due to a fault.
And that was why. Because we've now lost 4th gear. A double shift down from 5th to 3rd made the back end or the rear axle kind of, I think it's over-rotating it, and it's basically not good for when you're trying to slow down the car. F1 2019 is all about shifting down as slowly as you can to help the car turn better. It's a weird prospect to get your head around, but yes, it does kind of help in some small way. But thankfully, again, that issue only lasted for about a lap or 2, and now we can get on with our race. Once again, Lucas managed to stretch out the gap ever so slightly while we lost 4th gear, but now I'm praying that the team can hold it together now for the final 5 laps of this Monaco Grand Prix, and we can set after.
You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
Don't interrupt me, Jeff, again. Thank you. Let's hopefully set after this guy and win this race. It has been a very complicated road to get to the point where we are now in this weekend. Pace has been shaky, reliability has been just as shaky, but now it all comes down to this. 3 laps left. 0.4 is the difference. It's been close in qualifying, it's close in the race. Lucas has the ascendancy, but we have the pace. Who's going to come out on top? Let's see. Nice run through the final corner, bit of DRS. Not too much fuel or battery to play with.
This pace is strong, but be aware your tyres need to go the distance.
What did I say about interrupting me, Jeff? You're 1 message away from getting a shut up notification. But anyway, 2.5 laps left in this race, and the gap remains the same. Literally nothing. You don't need a timing screen to look at how close the gap is between the two of us. Trying to put on the pressure. We're seeing if we can get very close into the Raskas corner. That time around, weren't close enough. So we're charging up the battery, getting ready to gear up for a last-minute assault here in this Monaco Grand Prix. Lucas just seems to be fast in the areas that count. I really don't know where this Haas has been upgraded, but they seem to have a really solid package like we do through the Novel chicane for the final time. Trying to get a nice exit. Not much battery left. 6%. We're in hot lap. We're burning all of it. Fuel is also an issue too. 2% left on that as well. Through to the final chicane of the lap. And again, we look in a good position, but a bit of wheel spin has probably made all the difference between us having a little lunge there at Weber through the final corner. This isn't an overtaking zone, and Lucas will hold on for his first ever Formula 1 win.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Brilliant stuff from Haas today. What a superb victory. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Today was another great race and an even greater victory for Haas. Here they come now to step out onto the top of the podium. They'll be incredibly happy with today's result.
All I've got to say is fair play. Lucas, you know, he showed signs of being a very solid driver through F2, but more specifically in Season 1. He was always there and always outperforming his teammate. His car now gets some support and, you know, is making some solid gains, like literally right behind us in terms of the on-paper performance index. And they've turned up here at Monaco and they've absolutely blitzed everyone. Like, that literally, to quote the F1 2010 engineer, literally came out of nowhere. So fair play to Lucas. Hell, if they continue to upgrade their car, look out, because they might be a force to be reckoned with. But we made some solid points in the driver's standings. We're now only 29 points away from Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel had an absolute shocker with a grid penalty. No real fault of his own. So that's some big points lost for him. I think we're only 4 points away from Vettel in the championship. So by that reckoning, we're looking pretty good. We're going to continue to work on the car. We have to, because you just never know what's next around the corner with the AI's upgrades We know for certain that the teams in Season 2 go a bit crazy, so we just need to cover ourselves and continue to work on the car wherever we can. So, yeah, going forward, we need to continue to go down the path of, obviously, performance, but today was a bit of a wake-up call as to, you know, the gearbox. We do need to work on that, but for now, we're going to focus on performance. We're going to go for the ultimate weight reduction upgrade, and I feel like this might be the most effective upgrade you can do in career mode, the weight reduction upgrade, because it helps you in the corners, helps you in a straight line, and it helps you in terms of tire wear as well, because the car is lighter, less energy going through the tires. It is quite honestly the most well-rounded package you can do in terms of an upgrade, and hopefully that goes on the car for Austria. But unfortunately, because that upgrade was so expensive, we don't have the funds to do anything else, not even reliability. So that's where we're going to leave it for today, and we're going to focus on some of the more reliability focused parts later on. But we move on to Canada, and this is the R&D development for Haas. Holy crap. We've got a fight on our hands.